Hi, here is a handful of follow-ups of stocks mentioned before. First, INMD, INMD symbol, the cosmetics devices company. It was first mentioned out as sleuth-worthy, but a few months later, with the stock already 20% higher, it was mentioned again, but this time as riskier due to the company approving more shares. Indeed, within a month of the second mention, the stock plunged to half its first price. So both mentions proved timely. What now? The same company, the same business, the same quality, only the stock now is at 22, probably at bottom at 19. Can it reach again its high of 43 post first bottom? Yes, it could. The risk is an actual acquisition with some of the extra approved shares. How to find out if there may be one? You got it. Sleuth it out. How to do that? You got it again. Buy my books, The Sleuth Investor, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and see the method for yourself. Second follow-up, Argentina, yet again. The cyclical fast rise continues apace, with several stocks soaring daily. Some already are 4 and 5 times their price since they first mentioned. That is 4 and 5 baggers. Why do they rise so fast now? First, see my various mentions of Argentina as a turnaround country over the last 3 years. But then look up the latest video speech by the newly elected President Milei, where he canceled the Ministry of Women and Equity, a few other ministries and inclusion, and also canceled the central bank. Is it any wonder that Argentina stocks are flying? Now you may ask, how high can they go? My guess, nothing more than that, a guess, they'll continue at least until the US market tops, likely sometime next year, when the US FOMO melt-up, of which I spoke last time, ends. By that time, next year, Argentina stocks would correct too, but then could go on to new highs, 2 times, some 3 times from here. And some, like Idonor, may even 4 times from here. This would translate to about 10 times to 15 times the stock rising from the bottom, as, by the way, they have done Argentina twice before in previous cycles. Now mind, I could be wrong. So don't just rely on me. Do your own sleuthing. Don't just rely on mine. Third follow-up, Israeli stocks. A little more than a year ago, I noted that unlike Argentina, the Israeli economy is sound, but Israeli corruption is mostly political, whereas that of Argentina is mainly financial, which is easier to fix. Now, what sort of Israeli corruption there is? Again, as I noted, in Israel, the lefty Supreme Court hands out the fruits of the economy to its leftist friends and family, so public stockholders suffer. As a result, the Israeli ETF, the EIS, underperformed the US market, whereas the Argentinian ETF has begun to outperform it. Since it was mentioned here, the Israeli ETF kept falling, but recently it stabilized following Israel's swift response to the recent Hamas massacre. Usually the market rule is acheter sur le canon, buy on the sound of war guns. This rule was good in 1982, a market bottom, and also in 1991, another market bottom. Is it also good today? That is the Israeli stock market a buy? In my opinion, no, not yet. You see, the Israeli Supreme Court corruption continues, and the coming battle by the elected Israeli parliament, the Knesset, to wrest power away from the unelected 15 Xi Jinping Supreme Court judges may resemble the battle against Hamas in its ferocity. When can this battle take place? Not before the end of the Gaza war, and possibly a little bit longer. But if, as and when, the Israeli Knesset takes charge of the economy, only then could the Israeli market may present a multi-bagger opportunity to patient sleuth, just like Argentina did, but not yet. Fourth follow-up, the US stock market. Its current FOMO rise, fear of missing out, has just begun, in my opinion. Yes, the S&P may throw a hiccup or two on the way to scare the late-coming bears that turn bullish, but then the S&P will very likely continue to the top. Until when? Again, as noted before, the rise of the S&P would likely end when the market, now at 4,500, sniffs out the coming US election riots and start on a year-long crumble into fair value, which, in my opinion, is around 1,400, maybe even below that, say, or 12 or 1,300s. Now, what election riot is that? Again, as told you before, several of my Most trusted informers are hinting at preparations being made to disrupt the 2024 elections, since neither Trump nor Bobby Kennedy are acceptable to the US current rulers. Several listeners ask me for my sources, but as a good sleuth, I of course cannot reveal them. But don't just listen to me. Do your own checking and listen also to Victor Hansen, the US classical historian who often says what others don't dare mention, and he usually is right. In a recent 10-minute video, Hansen reports that the current administration sees Trump's comeback like that of a vampire that has pulled the stake out of its heart. It's his analogy, not mine. As a result, says Hansen, the current administration has gone into a panic mode, knowing that Trump may do to them what they're trying to do to him. Hansen does not go as far as to say, to repeat what my sources say. He doesn't forecast a US election riots, but he gets very close to it. Now, why should you care as an investor? Because, as I am told, the administration rising panic would likely make the pre-election riots widespread and more vicious than even the Black Lives Matter riots, since the possibility of election fraud has been much diminished. This will likely cause the market to top, in my opinion. But not just that. Besides that, there's also the prospect of a much damaged economy, which the US current administration may be working hard on creating with lots of Yellen new debt to hand to Trump or Bobby Kennedy a damaged economy. Fifth and last follow-up, oil stocks. At the beginning of the year, after Saudi Arabia cut oil production to support oil prices, I checked with some of my Middle East contacts who told me the obvious. The Saudis wouldn't have cut if there was enough demand for oil. Obviously, there wasn't. My take on oil was therefore to avoid it. Since that time, oil is down from 95 to 75 today. Where would it go now? The economy is already weak and will get weaker, in my opinion, so oil eventually could go down more. Not in a straight line, but it's down. Next year, in my opinion, oil may reach 30 to 40 bucks a barrel, half its current price, as both markets and the economy crumble after the current rise. I'd wait for that time to buy oils, probably in the middle of a panic, but not before. That's all the follow-up for now. Please let me know what you think of them. Then go buy my books, The Sleuth Investor and The Advanced Sleuth Investor, to learn how to see the world as it really and truly is physically, not as the world mouthpieces presented to you as blips on screen. And if you want to know how the real Middle East works, go buy my last thriller, The Undertaker's Daughter, and go see for yourself. Prepare to be shocked. And oh yes, once you read my books, please write a review about them for Amazon, which I hope will be good ones. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.